In the world of infectious diseases, the H5N1 virus, better known as bird flu, is a significant player. This potentially lethal virus originated in Asia, and since its first appearance in the late 90s, it has made its presence known across Europe and the Americas, infecting numerous birds and mammals. The ability of H5N1 to cross species barriers is what puts it on a global watch list. While it's primarily a bird virus, it doesn't hesitate to infect mammals, including humans. This rare jump from avian to mammalian hosts incites serious public health concern. The virus is transmitted through contact with infected birds, both domestic and wild. Particularly, markets and farms serve as high-risk zones where the virus can efficiently spread among bird populations. It can also survive in the environment for extended durations, aiding it in its spread. H5N1 isn't just a problem, it's a human problem as well. The first human case reported in Hong Kong in 1997, and sporadic human infections have occurred since then, often with fatal consequences. These cases are typically linked to close contact with infected birds or contaminated environments like poultry markets. In recent years, we've witnessed several H5N1 outbreaks in various parts of the world. Each outbreak rekindles about the virus's potential to cause a pandemic. While it currently doesn't spread readily among humans, the fear is that it could mutate into a form that does. However, it's not all dark and dire. By understanding the virus, its origins, its mode of transmission, and its impact on human and animal health, we can better equip ourselves to confront this threat. Knowledge might, and in the case of H5N1, it's a vital weapon in preventing the spread of this formidable adversary. Given its widespread presence, understanding H5N1 becomes critically important. As we delve more into the world of H5N1, remember, our primary objective is not to incite fear, but to arm you with the necessary knowledge to protect yourself and your loved ones. So, how does this bird flu spread, and what risks does it pose to us? The H5N1 bird flu, also known as avian influenza, primarily spreads among birds, both wild and domestic. An infected bird can spread the virus through its saliva, nasal secretions, and feces. Other birds can get infected when they come into contact with these secretions or droppings. This is the primary way the virus travels, especially among migratory birds, who can carry the virus to different parts of the world. But what about us humans? Well, it's a bit trickier. You see, the virus doesn't typically jump from birds to humans easily. However, it can, and has happened, especially in cases where there's been close and prolonged contact with infected birds or their droppings. This is often the case in places where domestic birds are kept in close quarters with humans, like in some rural farming areas. Now you might be asking, can I get it from eating poultry? The answer is, generally, no. As long as you're cooking your poultry to an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit, the virus should be killed. But it's still crucial to handle raw poultry safely. Always wash your hands and sanitize any surfaces that come into contact with raw poultry to prevent the spread of the virus. So what's the risk? Well, the H5N1 virus is a nasty one. It's highly infectious among birds, and when it does make the jump to humans, it can be deadly. It's estimated that about 60% of humans infected with the virus have died from the disease. That's a pretty sobering statistic. But it's important to remember that human-to-human transmission is extremely rare. Most human cases have been linked to close contact with infected birds or their droppings. So, while the risk is there, it's relatively low for most people. Knowledge of these risks and transmission methods is the first step towards preparedness. Now that we understand the risks, it's time to discuss how to prepare ourselves. Preparation is the key to staying safe in the face of the H5N1 bird flu outbreak. So, let's dive right in. First and foremost, personal hygiene is crucial. Washing your hands regularly with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds can help prevent the spread of viruses. If soap and water are not readily available, a hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol can be a suitable substitute. Next, let's talk about contact with birds and animals. It's best to avoid direct contact with wild birds and animals, especially those appearing sick or found dead. Remember, this virus originates from birds and can potentially be transmitted to humans through close contact. Now, this might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but using protective gear in high-risk areas is a wise precaution. This could include wearing gloves and masks when visiting live bird markets or poultry farms. Your health and safety should always be the top priority. Moving on, let's touch upon food safety. When handling and cooking poultry products, it's essential to do so safely to avoid contamination. Ensure that poultry is cooked thoroughly, reaching an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Raw poultry should be handled with care, and surfaces that have come into contact with it should be cleaned thoroughly. Last, but definitely not least, staying informed is vital. Health advisories from credible sources such as the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the World Health Organization provide valuable information on the latest updates and safety measures. It's essential to stay updated and take their advice seriously. In conclusion, being prepared for the H5N1 bird flu outbreak involves a combination of good personal hygiene, avoiding direct contact with wild birds and animals, using protective gear in high-risk areas, safe handling and cooking of poultry, and staying informed through credible sources. Being prepared means being informed and vigilant. Remember, your safety and the safety of your loved ones depend on the actions you take. So let's take these steps together and ensure we're all prepared for whatever comes our way. For those who like to be extra prepared, here are some specifics. Stocking up on essential supplies is a crucial step. Water is at the top of the list. You'll need at least 1 gallon per person per day for at least 2 weeks. Non-perishable food items such as canned goods and dry mixes are also vital. Don't forget pet food if you have furry friends at home. Medications, both prescription and over-the-counter, should be in your stash. Make sure to have a first aid kit ready too. It should contain bandages, antiseptic wipes, tweezers, medical tape, and other basics. Protective gear is another must-have. This includes masks, gloves, and eye protection. Remember, the H5N1 virus is often transmitted through close contact with infected birds. So, if you need to handle birds or clean up their droppings, protective gear is essential. Next, let's talk about home preparedness. Cleanliness is paramount. Regularly disinfect surfaces, especially those that come into contact with raw poultry or eggs. Dispose of waste properly and keep your living spaces well ventilated. Limiting exposure to potential sources of the virus is also critical. Avoid visiting live poultry markets or farms. If you have birds at home, keep them indoors and separate from wild birds as much as possible. Last but not least, stay connected with local health resources. Follow local health advisories and be aware of the preparedness plans in your community. Join local online forums or social media groups dedicated to prepping. They can be a wealth of information and support. And remember, preparedness is not about fear. It's about having peace of mind, knowing that you've done your best to protect yourself and your loved ones. Remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. To wrap it up, the H5N1 bird flu is a serious concern, but with the right knowledge and preparation, we can face it head-on. It's crucial to understand that this virus, originating from our feathered friends, can leap across species, making its way to US humans. The risk it poses to global health is significant, but it's not insurmountable with the right approach. Transmission is mainly through close contact with infected animals, emphasizing the need for personal hygiene and safe handling of poultry products. Staying updated with health advisories from credible sources like the CDC and WHO is a must. As preppers, we know the importance of being ready. Essential supplies like water, non-perishable food, medications, and protective gear are key. Keeping our home clean and limiting exposure to potential sources of the virus can help safeguard our health. For more information and updates, subscribe to our channel. Share this video to help spread awareness, not the virus. Stay prepared, stay safe.